Welcome back to Let's Play Super Metroid for the Super Nintendo. Last time we took our vengeance out on Ridley, and today it's time for that episode that I'm most likely going to dread in future Metroid playthroughs, which is more or less the video where I go back to Zebes and grab every expansion that I missed or didn't have access to previously. It's definitely at its best here, because unfortunately it just gets so much worse in future games. So much worse. Because again, if I haven't already made it clear in one of my previous videos, you can as long as you manage what items you get correctly, before heading to Ridley's lair, basically you can make it to where your trip back to the final area of the game, you can kind of just grab all of these expansions on the way, and it kind of makes it all trivial, if you want to be honest. So, I don't get what's up with this area, but like, the X-ray scope, normally the X-ray scope scopes out like hidden areas and shit, but like, this is literally like the only room in the entire game where it doesn't conceal like all of these hidden paths. And it was because of this that I didn't know like this area existed for the longest time, because I was, under the assumption that the X-ray scope told you everything, and quite technically it does. So, like, what? Why does it decide to just not work now? It just kind of goes against what you've been taught the entire game, you know? And the same thing applies to the dragon head, in which you go inside of to get the energy tank as well. So, yeah. It was because of those said factors that I always went back to the rooms prior and took a trip through the lava to make it back to the last area. And yeah, it took me until several playthroughs later to realize this. But yeah, taking this route is a lot more worth it, because through these routes you can actually go back and grab a few expansions along the way. And if I can correctly recall, these are pretty much the last expansions we have left to get in Norfair. I shouldn't be forgetting anything besides a map station, but maps are for pussies. I don't know. I've had this awful congestion come up once again, because I don't know what it is about me, but like every time fall begins to set in, my body never adapts to it quickly like it should, and I always get like the absolute worst congestion out of it. So I know, like, it's kind of traditional for most southern white people. I'm sorry if that came off as racist, by the way. I know it's kind of traditional for southern white people to prefer like the colder weather, but I've always been kind of the opposite and have preferred like, like the warm weather instead. And this even kind of equates to me like growing up too. Like, my birthday is like in December, right? And as a kid, I was always kind of pissed off that it was within that range, because like I was big into swimming and shit, and I always wanted to do like some kind of pool party for like my friends, and I never had the opportunity to. That's some deep dark shit. But yeah, what I'm trying to basically summarize here is that I am not a big fan of cold weather. I don't mind chilly weather every now and then, but it feels a lot worse for me to go out in extremely cold weather than it does in extremely hot weather, is what I'm basically trying to equate this to. And with that being said, we are pretty much out of the clear. And the route that we took pretty much puts us in a good position to quickly get back to the entrance to Ridley, or not Ridley, but Kraid's, no, Norfair's entrance. What am I saying? But yeah. You will hear no complaints from me on the subject matter. But most of the expansions we're going to be getting are within Norfair. Brentstar, what am I saying? So, we're going to be spending the major bulk of the video in that location. And if you simply want to see me go off to the final area and fight the final boss, I would just recommend skipping over to the next video, because this game playthrough part or whatever is simply just going to be me getting back to areas I've been through beforehand and just grabbing set expansions. But if you're all about that 100% life, then stick around, grab some hard cider, grab some Taco Bell possibly, get some tostadas, get them nice, tasty, cheesy, beefy, spicy nachos. There's a triple layer nachos, I should say. And enjoy the commentary, I guess. What I will make of this commentary and the ongoing portions of which I'm going through, we're gonna find that out, actually. And I know it's just gonna be worse when I get to Fusion and Zero Mission. That's for certain, because that's gonna involve much more backtracking to set areas to even get those damn expansions in the first place. I especially don't like those stupid speed booster puzzles in Zero Mission. Like, I love Zero Mission to death, but even I kind of run my tolerance low with those. Screw Attack kind of makes traversing through that vertical shaft kind of awkward, though, especially since you have to, like, shoot, like, the blocks covering the northern, or the higher entrance up, if you know what I'm talking about. So it's like, it's kind of best that if you're backtracking through that route, it's best to just go ahead and turn off the Screw Attack, because it's going to do you more harm than good trying to get back to that point. And now that I think about it, I know we're at like the tail end of the playthrough, more or less, but we might as well go and fight Spore Spawn. Spore Spawn has been kind of waiting for us to like go back and kick his ass since the beginning of the playthrough, so why not? Let's hand it to him and see how fast we can take care of him with plasma beams and super missiles. Which, actually, now that I'm thinking about it, I am actually legitimately curious now. Like, how fast can we tear up Spore Spawn with all this decked out equipment we have? Like, I can't wait to see that. Like, there's literally no reason to go back and fight Spore Spawn unless you are happening to get 100%, which I am, so that's gonna be a fun experiment to sit through. I'm hoping I'm not missing too many energy tanks, though. I wouldn't think so. But then again, I could always be wrong. So, yeah, I most definitely took that route that led to that energy tank or power bomb or whatever to the left. Just kind of taking inner mental notes here. So, we're gonna go through Old Brintstar and see if we can go and grab the majority of the expansions there, because that's kind of interesting to note that a good bulk of expansions within Brintstar are actually within like the old Blue Rocky Brintstar. It's like they intended for you to go back there all along. Okay, so let's go up. Actually, you know what? I don't even think we have to fight Spore Spawn. Is it possible? Or am I just gonna miss all my missiles? Yeah, it's certainly not possible. I was gonna say, like, well, actually, no, it could be possible. Like, maybe if I shot some missiles, ran up, and, like, jump into Morph Ball the moment I did so. Maybe that's... I don't know. It almost feels like with how much people have dig deep into this game, it's like just about anything is possible. It's just so crazy how exploitable this game is. Like, fuck. The only limitation is yourself, it feels like. Just gonna see if we can grab a small handful of super missiles. Okay. I think that'll do. I actually kind of wonder if the plasma beam is stronger than the super missiles. I never really quite looked into the data for all of that. And to be honest, I really don't know why. I haven't. Alright, let's see. Let's test it out on Spore Spawn, actually. Never really did like this boss fight, though. It's so unintuitive. Now that I think about it, though, even, like, disregarding how early I got super missiles, it just seems kind of weird to me how early they give you super missiles. Because, like, super missiles quite literally and figuratively, like, completely mop the floor with so many bosses in this game. Including Kraid, which, like, you only need, like, 3 super missiles to bring them down. So it's like, they certainly didn't take into account balance here when putting the super missiles as early as they were in this location. I mean, granted, you don't really find too many super missiles until much later, because reasons, but yeah, that's kind of interesting to note, I guess. Oh, wow, that's interesting. Okay, so charge beams don't actually work against Spore Spawn. I'll keep that as a mental note. Okay, that didn't take too long, I would hope. Why is that so fun to do? I don't know if that's supposed to be an Easter egg or not, but I always like doing that to Spore Spawn whenever I kill them. Gotta show off them wall jump moves, yo. And yeah, all that for a super missile tank. I mean, granted, this is the first location you're supposed to grab super missiles, but I digress. Alright, so now we just need to head back to Old Brent Store and grab those expansions I had mentioned about 5 minutes ago. What I'm not looking forward to, however, are those 2 pairs of missiles that are like in this vertical shaft, like right above like the door you take to go to the final area in Crateria. You probably know what I'm talking about. But I'm hoping I can get lucky and like my platforming doesn't end up sucking enough to where I can't grab 2 of them at the same time. Select the power bombs and set it with the Y button. Why, thank you, game. Thank you for telling me that for the umpteenth time. I think there's actually like speedrun hacks that take out that little prompt entirely. I don't remember the name of the hack though. Now, do I plan to do Super Metroid hacks in the future? Well, I don't know. It's a pretty good question, actually. Let's just put that up there in the maybe. And, yeah, it's certainly possible to go up here without the screw attack, but it's easier to just have it on board. Otherwise, what I would normally do is try to jump up and power bomb, and then like just try to wall jump up there as fast as I can. Don't want to forget that missile tank there. I'm pretty sure a lot of people forget about that. Now that I think about it though, like, the way, like, most 2D Metroid games are designed is that in one space on the map, like one block unit on the map that represents, like, a room or part of a room, you can only really have up to, like, one expansion. Except for this game. This game kind of has to be, like, the only exception to the rule for some arbitrary reason. And, quite frankly, like, kind of glad they changed that because it makes keeping track of all of these expansions a whole lot easier. I don't know, a lot of people have this tendency to complain about like the locations of these expansions being streamlined where, you know, like the most you're gonna get in Super Metroid are the little dots, but as far as like hidden stuff in the blocks, like you're never gonna quite get that. And then with like, you know, Fusion and Zero Mission and Samus Returns, they have these little circles that indicate like if an expansion is there, regardless of whether or not it's hidden. And I've never minded it personally because like the way those games have it designed is where they often or not always put these expansions, like the most well hidden ones anyway, within portions like right off the map to where, like, even the map doesn't quite indicate where these are unless you're paying attention to, like, subtle background details or whatnot. So, I don't know. Like, people will always have something to complain about, but, like, personally to me, I've never minded, like, the way, like, the Zero, um, like, the GBA games streamlined it a bit more because they still did a pretty good job hiding the expansions overall. Just the process of actually getting some of them can certainly be more annoying than actually snuffing them out, but that's a story for another time. Did I already skip? Yeah, I did. Yeah. Yep. 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 Okay, so it's right here. Gotta watch for that little block, like extending out to the side as a visual cue for where that is. I didn't think it'd take me so many parts to finish this playthrough. Most of the time it takes me far less. Like, I know in my RetroComs playthrough of this, it only took me like 7 parts to finish it, but then again, some of the videos were longer to kind of compensate somewhat. And then, like, I'm trying to think. There was one other playthrough I did for a channel I was a part of long ago that I think had way less parts. Yeah, I don't know. Why did this playthrough take as many parts as it did? Is it true that the more I autopilot, the better I play? Or the faster I play? Like, is that what it is? God, that would be weird if that was the case. And yeah, we could have technically gone for this missile beforehand in the beginning of the game, but it would have required us having to go out of our way and basically kill more time to get to this set expansion as opposed to just doing it now when we're on a roundabout back to the surface to make it over to the last area of the game. So, yeah, that's just the way I handle things here on out. And I'm pretty sure a lot of other people who more likely play this game, they more likely play this game in a more hardcore fashion than I do, most likely take that route if I'm going to be real here. So let's go ahead and drop ourselves into our ship. And, oh god. I'm missing more missiles than I thought. What missiles am I missing? We'll find out as we go, I guess, but I could have sworn I got all of them. God dang it. I just hate that. Like, even though I've 100%ed this game plenty of times, it's just like, there's always like those one or two missiles that I'm always going to blow off and forget altogether. And it's most certainly a frustrating ordeal to contend with. Especially considering that, like, I had to restart the playthrough over again after part 4, I think it was. No, it was part 6 or 7. One of those parts. And I had to, like, be sure I grabbed everything without grabbing too much. And yeah, that could have led to me maybe, possibly, like, accidentally forgetting something. But yeah, it looks like I'm missing 2 missiles, and that's not good. That's not good at all. On the plus side, though, I was worried I was going to be missing all of the energy tanks, and thankfully we got them here. Not even going to worry about the lava damage. It's moot. It's not even, like, a threat to us by this point, since we have so many energy tanks. That, and I've been kind of playing pretty recklessly throughout the whole playthrough anyway, so yeah, doesn't really matter to me all that much. Crap, I didn't get it. Oy. Well, shoot. This is a position I hoped to not end up being in, that's for certain. So, yeah, it looks like we're gonna have to, like, take a look at our map here and find out what I forgot. I'm starting to get the feeling I might know what I forgot there. Hmm. Yeah, looks like I'm gonna have to go off screen and check out what it is. Thankfully, yeah, it's only 2 missile expansions, so yeah, next time on Let's Play Super Metroid, we're gonna find out what those 2 missiles are, and then I'm gonna go ahead and grab this missile off screen. Ending be damned. So, thank you guys for watching. I apologize for all of this, and I will see you guys then.